How we're going to review The Immigrant, directed by James Gray, a drama that takes place during post-World War I and centers around a Polish woman, Iwa, who moves to New York City with her sister to find a better life. However, after her sister is detained and quarantined for having lung disease, Iwa is forced to turn to prostitution to make money to help her sister. Now, The Immigrant is a film that was shown at the Cannes Film Festival of 2013 and was even nominated for the Palme d'Or, which is, of course, the biggest prize of the entire festival. But as we all know, that prize went to none other than Blue is the Warmest Color, one of my favorite films of last year. Although I'm not quite head over heels in love with this film like some have stated, I can still see why this was nominated for the Palme d'Or, and I still think this is a really, really good film. This is a film that follows characters who come to America in the hopes of living a better life, to achieve that much coveted American dream. And this film showcases the cold, harsh reality of it all. Although we are given the right to pursue happiness, that doesn't necessarily mean that we are given the right to be happy. So in other words, there are absolutely no guarantees. Not everyone will find a more suitable life in the land of the free, and that is definitely the case with Iwa, Marion Cotillard's character. And what's great about Marion Cotillard's performance in this is that there's a lot of subtlety to her performance. It has a lot to do with how, she moves her eyes, that kind of stuff. And she's a very introverted character, which makes a lot of sense given that, she is somebody who has been through a lot. She's having to become a prostitute to support herself and support her sister. She's kind of abused. And I know some people have complaints saying that she's kind of dull, she's kind of boring. I completely disagree. I find her to be a very complex character. And I've also heard some complaints on IMDb regarding Marion Cotillard's performance, saying that she was a bit stale, or she was a bit underused, or saying that she wasn't really doing a whole lot in the film. Again, I completely disagree because it's all about the context. Her character is very introverted because of everything that she's gone through and everything that she's going through in the film. And it only makes sense for her to be introverted, someone who is kind of closed in, kind of keeps to herself, kind of shows all of her emotion through her eyes, which she does indeed do. Like I said, there's a lot of complexity there, and just because she's not out showing it, being very crazy with it, doesn't mean that she's not giving a great performance. You also have Joaquin Phoenix in the film, who plays Marion Cotillard's pimp in the movie, who is in love with her character, and he is completely and utterly deranged. He will flip out over anything and everything, and he's even somewhat dangerous. He is excellent in this film. And this is a relatively toned down Joaquin Phoenix performance in comparison to something like The Master, where he played Freddie Quell, somebody who had PTSD and among many other kinds of mental problems and all that stuff. And lastly, there's Jeremy Renner, who does give that charismatic performance because his character is a magician and entertainer, and he comes in at the 50-minute mark to kind of liven up this otherwise pretty bleak film. And speaking on the first 50 minutes, I did find the film to be kind of slow up until Jeremy Renner's appearance, but it's still a good 50 minutes, just kind of a slow 50 minutes. On the other hand, though, there are some excellent nail-biting scenes within this film's third act that completely pay off. However, even with that said, I do have a couple of problems with the film's third act, and it all sort of stems from this one otherwise brilliant scene. And one problem with that particular scene is that I think it kind of arrives a bit prematurely, and the biggest problem I have, that stems from that scene is that it leads to some very interesting places, yet at the same time, though, it leads to a lack of an independent character choice that I was hoping to get at the end of the film, if that makes any sense. Overall, The Immigrant is a really good film. I'm going to give it a very high 3.5 out of 5. As always, I'm Colyn Kirkland, and thank you so much for watching.